Hi everybody, I'm Matt Anderson, and I remember years ago reading this book that had a chapter in it that said how to ask anyone for anything. And I remember thinking, no way, like that's just ridiculous concept. And yet here I am today, and I want to share with you a process about how to ask anyone for anything, because I've now realized it's actually quite achievable. Now, as you know, for the last 20 years or so, I've coached hundreds and hundreds of mostly financial advisors, but not exclusively, how to generate more business, but also how to get out of their own way. And I've found that I think there are 5 main areas that have to be addressed. There's shifting identity, there's creating power habits, there's having a process to be able to ask anyone for anything, there's turning all your relationships into great advocates, and then there's accepting that you are your biggest obstacle. Today I want to focus on that process though for being able to ask anyone for anything. It starts with mindset. So the most liberating shift that I've seen in clients of mine that have gone from okay results to phenomenal results is they have a mindset shift that goes from, I think I'm a salesperson, to, you know, actually I'm just trying to help people. I sincerely believe I'm just trying to help people. And so that's one key shift. However, if you're asking yourself, well, what about this asking anyone piece that I'm definitely not comfortable with everybody, then that's a second mindset. So that's a mindset that's typically more around going increasingly upmarket, right? Because typically we're talking about asking for bigger opportunities, and that's where we start to get a little bit uncomfortable. So in that case, it's about crafting a tiny habit that's worded something along the lines of, after I feel a little uncomfortable asking this big shot for an opportunity to do business, I will, and then you put in something that's empowering for yourself. So, a client of mine that I worked with a number of years ago, his wording was, I will remind myself that nobody's better than me and I don't quit. And so you don't have to use those exact words, but you want to pick some wording that's empowering. So that's the mindset piece. And one last comment on that, I would recommend put it on a note card and keep it by your computer so it's top of mind on a consistent basis, so that when you have that discomfort or awkward feeling come up, you can catch it quickly. Secondly, process. Most people don't have a process. So I created a 4-step process many years ago about getting referrals, and essentially step 1 is around earning the right to ask, putting enough water in the well. The second step is about being so specific about who you want to meet that the other person doesn't have to think about it. Step 3 then is coaching that referral source on what's the best way to get this door opened. And step 4 is about keeping control of the process. Just a quick, great example though of somebody I coached years ago who just saw amazing differences between a vague ask for anybody and asking for something very specific. So he used to just say, I build my business through referrals. Can you think of anyone that you could introduce me to? And almost nothing would ever happen. People would just say, well, let me think about it. When he started to make specific referral requests, which is what I'm encouraging you to do from now on, his business transformed, and it transformed fast. Within 5 months, he'd added 10 new clients, he'd had 40 referrals, and he'd added $100 million into his pipeline as far as assets to manage, just inside 5 months. So it may not necessarily transform your business that fast, but it does make a huge difference, especially when you do it consistently thereafter. So that's the process piece. And then there's the wording part. So just a couple of quick suggestions on wording. Some of my favorite sentences are things like, how would you be most comfortable introducing me? Or if you don't know who to ask for, but you still want to make it somewhat specific, you might say, who do you get along best with where you work that you'd be most comfortable introducing me to? Something like that. And then in terms of keeping control, one of my favorite lines is something like, when should I get back to you to see if this person might be interested in hearing from me? So wording makes a difference, and that also builds our confidence and competence with asking anyone for anything. And then the last piece is the habit part, where it becomes autopilot so you don't have to think about it. And my favorite referral habit is that specific ask one, which again, if you do at least 3 times a week, again, week in, week out, really great things can happen. So to me, those are the pieces that can help you, embolden you, and give you the skills and confidence and competence to be able to ask anyone for anything. In fact, if you found this helpful at all, what I would recommend is go to the link in the description. There's an overview there of the 4-step process so you can get some more details on it. I'd also really appreciate a comment from you on what was most helpful for you about what I've covered in the last few minutes, and really what would be a great next step for you as well. It's always good to know what that piece is. Otherwise, I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.